I've developed a simple, concise mental framework that allows me to understand the world of personal finance, and today I'm going to teach it to you. Hi, I'm Jay. I'm a guy who likes to study personal finance as a hobby and all the ways in which you can minimize the time and effort you place into managing your money, and all the ways in which you can maximize your financial security, returns, and independence. My mental framework has 4 cornerstones: income, spendings, savings, and investments. After I'm done explaining these 4 pillars of personal finance, you can apply the framework to your own situation, so you can assess your strengths and weaknesses. First of all, we have your income. It's the most simple one, because for you to manage money, you need to make money, right? Now, there are multiple ways you can earn money. There are active income streams, the ones you actively work for, the most common one being working under someone, meaning you are a salaried employee. Most employees don't earn all that much, I know. However, there's an upside to these jobs, being that they are easily accessible. Well, at least they should be, because we know how crazy the job market is right now. Under active income, we also have freelancing, which means you are going to leverage a skill you have, for example, video editing, and you are going to offer your services to another business or person. You are basically going to be an independent contractor. Then we have the most famous type of active income stream, but it also is the hardest one and the one which is the most volatile in terms of financial security, which is opening your own business. And then, aside from active income streams, you have passive income streams, those in which you don't have to work to earn money. And I believe that the only truly passive income streams are dividends and interest on your investments. Now, after you've earned your money, the real capital management begins. Spending is all about controlling where you put your money. And for you to be financially independent, you need to have the discipline and self-control to cut out your bad spending habits, such as living above your means, which means that you are basically spending too much money on unnecessary goods, and also gambling. These poor spending habits take away from your disposable income, which could otherwise go towards things like savings and investments. And in a worst case scenario, if you have debt, it could launch you into a debt spiral, which means that the interest of the debt keeps piling up and accumulating, and you are simply never able to pay it all off. There are 4 categories through which you divide and spend your money. First, you have your debt. Then you have your needs, which are things that you need in your daily life to survive, such as to pay your rent, to pay your water and electricity bills, to pay for food, to pay for basic clothing, and even Wi-Fi nowadays. Then you have your wants, which is basically all the luxury goods that you desire. And lastly, we have savings and investments, which I'm going to talk about in a bit. If I had to rank these 4 categories in terms of importance, I'd say that first of all, you have to pay off your debts and buy your basic needs. And then only after you're more financially secure should you look into savings and investments. And then only lastly should you look into buying your luxury wants. However, I'd like to emphasize that this is just my opinion. For me, luxury goods are just that, a luxury, but different people have different outlooks on life. I know that for some people, buying more expensive things brings them immense joy, so why shouldn't they do it? So please, if you like spending money on more expensive things, you can do it once in a while. But please be conscious and responsible with your finances. Next comes savings, the money you keep and accumulate for short-term spending. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the part where you become financially independent. Because with accumulated and ready to spend money, you have the ability to take more risk in your personal ventures, which could allow you to earn a bigger income. Essentially, there are 2 types of savings accounts. There's an emergency fund, where you are going to place money that you are not going to touch. This is an account that serves only as an emergency fund, as the name implies. You are only going to use this money if you are unable to work, if you've lost your job, or if you have a big medical bill or another type of bill. In emergency funds, the recommendation is to put 3 to 6 months worth of expenses if you have a secure income. However, if it's more volatile, you should consider 6 to 9 months worth of expenses. The trick here is to have a reliable and easily liquidated fund that allows you to spend money on those emergency situations. Then you have savings for short-term goals. For example, if you want to save up some money for a down payment on a car or a house, or if you want to take a trip. However, these savings accounts shouldn't be your main focus. However, once again, you are the master of your life, you decide how to live it, not me. Lastly, we have investments, and this is where the real wealth is built. An investment is defined as a good or an asset that you buy today and sell in the future for a profit. And here we're talking about decades into the future. We're looking at playing the long game here. The most prominent financial assets you can buy are individual stocks, ETFs, bonds, real estate, cryptocurrencies, among others. But the most important aspect of investing, in my opinion, of course, is having discipline. You have to do it in a regular basis if you are able to, ignoring all market conditions. It's almost like a chore, you know, every day you have to take out the trash, clean the house, feed the dog, and then monthly you have to invest in your portfolio. Over the years, as you invest more and accumulate more and more money, you are going to see an exponential growth in your investments. This is an oversimplification of dollar cost averaging, and for the regular folk who don't really care about finances, this is all you basically need to know about the fundamentals of investing. Then you of course need to assess which financial instrument you're going to buy, and you actually need to buy it. But that's besides the point, I'm not going to talk about it today. To summarize, my mental framework towards personal finance has the 4 following cornerstones. Income, the money you generate. Spendings, the way you control your money so you don't stagnate or even worse, suffer financially. Savings, with which you become financially independent. And then investments, the way you become wealthy over a long period of time. Now that I've explained my mental framework, you can take it and apply it to your own situation, considering all the topics I've talked about. And then I also highly encourage you to go out there and make your own research. For the internet, library, there are many sources you can go around. And this is also you can have a better, more informed opinion on the subject. Because I'm not a professional, I just have a little passion for personal finance. So if you disagree with anything I say, please tell me so in the comments. Personal finance is a topic that has a lot of subjectivity attached to it, because it depends on your personal socio-economic situation, your lifestyle. There are simply too many factors that determine the way in which you in specific should spend your money. So please take that into consideration and take everything I say with a grain of salt. Down below in the description I'm going to leave some links which can work as a starting point to your own research. In the following videos in this channel I'm going to individually develop upon the topics I've talked about today. So if you're interested, please stay tuned. I'll see you around.